Hello, Deadlings. Welcome back to Exploring the Entity, where killers, survivors, and secrets collide. I'm your co host, Mark.
And Ducati. On today's episode, let's talk about the four infamous killers rated at hard difficulty with multiple powers, them being Dr. Dredge, Demo, and the Dark Lord.
Today we'll be starting off with Herman Carter, or the Doctor. He was released on May 11th of 2017 in the chapter Spark of Madness. He is an African American male. Showing exceptional aptitude in psychology, Herman was handpicked for special training in an advanced neuroscience program located in a secret black site facility in Illinois known as Leary's Memorial Institute. Really a front for the CIA. This is where Herman met Dr. Otto Stamper, where, under his guidance, Herman began to use strange and ever increasingly vicious methods to extract information from prisoners sent to the Institute, which was also a covert prison and re-education center for whoever was the USA's current nemesis. His liberal use of violent electroshock therapy revealed dramatic results, and several threats to national security were uncovered. Over the years, Herman became known as the Doctor, and no one ever questioned if he had ever even held a medical certificate, or even what happened to the prisoners after they had given up their information. It was only after Leary's Memorial Institute went silent for a week that the true horror was finally discovered. The personnel, patients, and prisoners were all found dead, with all types of head trauma. All personnel and prisoners' bodies were accounted for, including Dr. Stamper, but no sign of Herman the Doctor Carter was ever found. Moving on to his perks, we have Monitor and Abuse. While chasing a survivor, your tear radius is 15% bigger. While not chasing a survivor, your tear radius is 25% smaller. Overcharge. Whenever you damage a generator, its regression speed will go from 85% to 130% over the next 30 seconds. The next survivor who starts repairing it gets a special skill check. If they miss it, they lose an additional 4% more progress. Overwhelming Presence. Whenever a survivor uses an item within 32 meters of you, they gain Exhausted for 15 seconds. Whenever a survivor within 32 meters of you gains Exhausted, you see the closest exhausted survivor's aura for 4 seconds, with a cooldown of 25 seconds. Moving on to his power, Carter's Spark. Successfully striking survivors with the Doctor's special abilities, Shock Therapy, or Static Blast increases the survivor's madness, eventually afflicting them with the Madness status effect, and triggering increasingly potent effects. Starting off with Madness 1. It causes survivors to scream once, revealing their position to the Doctor. Slightly affects skill check placement and direction. Madness 2. Causes survivors to scream once and experience hallucinations in the form of an illusionary Doctor. Moderately affects skill check placement and direction. Madness 3. Causes survivors to scream intermittently and experience hallucinations in the form of an illusionary Doctor. Tremendously affects skill check placement and direction. The survivor cannot heal, repair, sabotage, unlock, cleanse, or use items until they successfully snap out of it. When a survivor completes the snap out of it action, they return to Madness 1. Special ability, Shock Therapy. Press and hold the power button to perform Shock Therapy, unleashing a ranged shock attack on the ground in front of you. Survivors struck by shock therapy gain increased madness, and any interactions they are performing are immediately interrupted. Shock therapy immediately negates the oblivious status effect. Special ability, Static Blast. Press and hold the active ability button to perform a static blast, causing all survivors within the Doctor's terror radius to scream and gain increased madness. Static Blast can only be activated when not on cooldown. Static Blast immediately negates the oblivious status effect. Moving on to his add-ons. Iridescent King. Survivors with madness status effect suffer from the following afflictions: calm, discipline, order, and restraint. Causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. The effect is intermittent in Madness 2 and constant in Madness 3. While in chase, survivors perceive an illusionary red stain and terror radius as though the doctor were directly behind them. This effect persists for 6 seconds after the chase ends in Madness 2 and is constantly active in Madness 3. Broken pallets may appear to be replaced with illusionary pallets that persist until approached. A new illusionary pallet is generated at the location of a random broken pallet every 20 seconds. Increases the duration of illusionary doctor hallucinations by 6 seconds. The doctor sees illusionary red stains as well as the auras of illusionary doctors and illusionary pallets. Iridescent Queen. All survivors struck by shock therapy or static blast acquire a lingering static charge. The static charge remains with the survivors until discharged. Multiple survivors struck by the same shock therapy or static blast that are within 4 meters of each other do not acquire a static charge. Anytime a survivor is within 4 meters of another survivor carrying a static charge, the survivor receives a shock identical to shock therapy and the static charge is discharged immediately. Calm, Carter's notes. Increased terror radius by 8 meters while static blast is ready. Decreases terror radius by 8 meters while static blast is on cooldown. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of calm. Madness 2 intermittently causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Madness 3 constantly causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Discipline, Carter's notes. Decreases the detonation delay of shock therapy by 0.1 seconds. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of discipline. Madness 2. While in chase, survivors perceive an illusionary red stain and terror radius as though the doctor were directly behind them. This effect persists for 6 seconds after the chase ends. Madness 3. Illusionary red stain and terror radius are constantly active. The doctor also sees the illusionary red stain. Order, Carter's notes. Decreases static blast cooldown by 3 seconds. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of order. Broken pallets may appear to be replaced with illusionary pallets that persist until approached. A new illusionary pallet is generated at the location of a random broken pallet every 20 seconds. The doctor sees the auras of illusionary pallets. Restraint, Carter's notes. Reveals survivors' auras for 3 seconds when their madness level increases. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of restraint. Increases the duration of illusionary doctor hallucinations by 6 seconds. Allows the doctor to see the auras of hallucinations at any level of madness. Discipline, Class 3. Decreases the detonation delay of shock therapy by 0.08 seconds. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of discipline. Madness 2. While in chase, survivors perceive an illusionary red stain and terror radius as though the doctor were directly behind them. This effect persists for 6 seconds after the chase ends. Madness 3. Illusionary red stain and terror radius are constantly active. The doctor also sees the illusionary red stain. Restraint, Class 3. Reveals survivors' auras for 2 seconds when their madness level increases. Survivors with madness suffer from the affliction of restraint. Increases the duration of illusionary doctor hallucinations by 6 seconds. Allows the doctor to see the auras of hallucinations at any level of madness. High stimulus electrode. Increases the range of shock therapy by 4 meters. Interview tape. Shock therapy special ability changes from a cone to a beam with a 24-meter range and a 2-meter width. Scrapped tape. Changes the shape of shock therapy to a ring with a range of 8 meters, a radius of 4 meters, and a thickness of 1 meter. Calm, Class 2. Increases terror radius by 6 meters while Static Blast is ready. Decreases terror radius by 6 meters while Static Blast is on cooldown. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Calm. Madness 2 intermittently causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Madness 3 constantly causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Discipline, Class 2. Decreases the detonation delay of shock therapy by 0.06 seconds. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Discipline. Madness 2. While in a chase, survivors perceive an illusionary red stain and terror radius as though the doctor were directly behind them. This effect persists for 6 seconds after the chase ends. Madness 3. Illusionary red stain and terror radius are constantly active. The doctor also sees the illusionary red stain. Order, Class 2. Decreases Static Blast cooldown by 2.5 seconds. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Order. Broken pallets may appear to be replaced with illusionary pallets that persist until approached. A new illusionary pallet is generated at the location of a random broken pallet every 20 seconds. The doctor sees the auras of illusionary pallets. Restraint, Class 2. Reveals survivors' auras for 1 second when their madness level increases. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Restraint. Increases the duration of illusionary doctor hallucinations by 6 seconds. Allows the doctor to see the auras of hallucinations at any level of madness. Polished Electrode. Increases the range of shock therapy by 3 meters. Calm, Class 1. Increases terror radius by 4 meters while Static Blast is ready. Decreases terror radius by 4 meters while Static Blast is on cooldown. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Calm. Madness 2 intermittently causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Madness 3 constantly causes survivors to hear a distant illusionary terror radius. Order, Class 1. Decreases Static Blast cooldown by 2 seconds. Survivors with Madness suffer from the affliction of Order. Broken pallets may appear to be replaced with illusionary pallets that persist until approached. A new illusionary pallet is generated at the location of a random broken pallet every 20 seconds. The doctor sees the auras of illusionary pallets. Maple Night reveals the area of effect of shock therapy. Moldy Electrode increases the range of shock therapy by 2 meters. Moving on to the Demogorgon. He was released on September 17th, 2019, in the chapter Stranger Things. He is also called the Monster or the Beast, and he is an extra-dimensional creature within the license of the TV show Stranger Things. A blooming mouth full of needle-like teeth for a face, large, curved, razor-sharp claws, and powerful legs to pounce on victims make the Demogorgon a frightening monster to face in any dimension. It is a nightmare of unrestrained, feral rage as it hunts down its prey and rips it to pieces, devouring every last morsel of flesh and gore, leaving nothing for scavengers. The creature is untouched by any sense of compassion or restraint. Looming over its victim, it shows no doubt or mercy, just the pure instinct of its insatiable bloodlust as it delivers the death blow. A perfect hunter, the Demogorgon is a macabre testament to the horrors lurking in the Upside Down and why it was choice pickings for the entity. Moving on to his perks. Cruel Limits. Whenever a generator is completed, you see the auras of all windows for 30 seconds, and all windows are blocked for 30 seconds. Mindbreaker. While survivors are repairing a generator, they gain blindness and they gain exhaustion. When they stop repairing a generator, this ends after 5 seconds. Surge. Whenever you down a survivor with a basic attack, Generators within 32 meters explode and lose 8% progress and start regressing. Survivors repairing them also scream. Moving on to his power. Of the Abyss. Of the Abyss. Press and hold the power button to fully charge and activate Of the Abyss. All survivors within a close proximity to an activated portal will be indicated by Killer Instinct. Special attack. Shred. Press the attack button while charging or holding Of the Abyss to dive forward and unleash a vicious slash. Hitting a dropped pallet or a breakable wall will special break it. Special ability, Portals. Press the active ability button to open a portal on the ground in front of you. Traverse upside down. While standing on a placed portal with a different portal highlighted, press the active ability button again to travel through the upside down to arrive at the targeted portal. Emerging from a portal grants undetectable. Activated portals. Portals become activated when they are first traversed to or from. Only activated portals may be sealed by survivors. Activated portal auras are highlighted in yellow. And lastly, his add-ons. Lepros Legion. It reveals the aura of all survivors while traversing the upside down. After emerging from a portal, the auras of all survivors within 16 meters of an active portal are revealed for 3 seconds. Red Moss. Increases time required to emerge from a portal by 15%. Increases the duration of the undetectable effect gained from when emerging from a portal by 8 seconds. Emerging from portals becomes silent. Lifeguard Whistle. Increases the number of available portals by 2. Unknown Egg. Decreases the cooldown after traversing the upside down by 2.5 seconds. Upside Down Resin. Increases time required for survivors to seal portals by 20%. Vermilion Webcap. Increases the duration of the undetectable effect gained when emerging from a portal by 3 seconds. Brass Case Lighter. Proximity to portals inflicts survivors with blindness. Once out of contact with the portal, this effect persists for 60 seconds. Deer Lung. Increases upside down movement speed by 30%. Decreases the number of available portals by 2. 11 Soda. Shows auras for generators while being repaired while traversing the upside down. Thorny Vines. Increases time required for survivors to seal portals by 8%. Increases the distance from portals at which survivors can be detected by Of the Abyss by 1 meter. Violet Wax Cap. Increases the duration of the undetectable effect gained from when emerging from a portal by 1 second. Barb's Glasses. Whenever you special break pallets or breakable walls with Shred, the cooldown is 10% shorter. Mew's Guts. Increases the total number of available portals by 1. Decreases Shred missed cooldown by 11%. Rotten Green Tripe. Increases upside down movement speed by 15%. Sticky Lining. Increases the distance from portals at which survivors can be detected by Of the Abyss by 2.5 meters. Vicious Webbing. Increases time required for survivors to seal portals by 10%. Black Heart. Decreases Shred hit cooldown by 10%. Rat Liver. Increases movement speed while charging Of the Abyss by 3.5%. Rat Tail. Increases speed of opening a portal by 50%. Rotten Pumpkin. When traversing the upside down, the portal you enter is destroyed. Gain an additional 200 blood points for the traversal.
Next up, we have The Dredged. Released on June 7, 2022 in Chapter 24, Roots of Dread. Game alias The Druni. He is a creature of malfestation of Malthink. his lore states. The Fold was founded on a private American island in the 1950s by a group of anonymous philanthropists. Their goal was to establish a peaceful society free of dark thoughts and emotions, attracting the dismayed, disenchanted, and disillusioned from all over the country. This peace loving community thrived over the years, and members freely followed the dictates of its characteristic members. Freely leader Odo Stamper, who taught his followers the secret of maintaining happiness through joy talk, meditation, and the endless reacting of good thinking matters. But not all was bliss within the fold, and Odo swiftly banished anyone who confessed to having dark thoughts or speaking dark words. Those he appointed as guardians of the fold were quick to root out malcontents, banishing anyone who thought or spoke against the almost perfect community he had established. Life was more or less a utopian dream on the island, until the darkness began to slowly leak through the cracks of their spiritual dam, and members began to mysteriously disappear. It wasn't long before fear closed its septic jaws on the island and refused to let go. The once happy community now gathered in a few homes, chanting all the good thinking mantras in a desperate attempt to rid their lives of their formless creature that seemed to stalk them in the shadows and consume them in their sleep. Otto tried to quell his followers, telling them that there were malcontents among their ranks, and that they alone had summoned the Druni to their garden of joy. As the fold bladed fear, Otto evoked desperate measures. Automarians were restricted to their homes to prevent the spread of rumors and dark talk, while sleep was forbidden to prevent anyone from releasing dark dreams into the world. Freedom and sleep would return just as soon as the Druni was no longer upon them. But when Automarians continued to disappear, Otto assembled his followers near the beach, where he placed a screaming woman on a wooden stage. There, in the rain, Otto explained to his drenched, alienated, and sleep-deprived congregation that the woman was a journalist, here to destroy everything they had created. As the guardians held the trembling woman, she screamed that Otto wasn't the savior he claimed to be. He belonged to an ancient cult, an exclusive club of billionaires that took pleasure in corrupting and sacrificing people, towns, and even countries to an elder god. The journalist told them Otto hadn't banished anyone. He had tortured and sacrificed them, and that they would all be next. Without hesitation, Otto slit her throat before she could continue to spread lies. As she collapsed to her knees, with her hands clasped around her neck, he told his confused and terrified herd that she was working with others within their ranks, and then they needed to find the impostors before the Druni came for them all. Otto's words shot over the congregation and reached into the murky recesses of their hearts and dredged up dark and fearful things. Years of suppressed emotions began to babble up as a thick fog pushed through restless legs and feet. Whispers began, and the whispers became panicked mantras, and the mantras became screams and curses as each member accused the next of mal-thinking and mal-speaking. Over the howling wind and pounding rain, the screams and curses grew louder and louder as everyone desperately tried to contain the darkness within. But the harder they tried, the quicker they ailed, and within moments the dam burst to release a torrent of hell. Otto watched his once blissful and joyful herd suddenly erupt into violence unlike anything he had ever seen before. The fold bladed accusations and tore each other to bits and pieces with hands and teeth, and never once did they look up to see their kind and charismatic shepherd smiling down upon them with eyes that were cold, bleak, and without pity. When it was all over, Otto felt the cracking wooden stage shake as a murder of crows circled above. Suddenly, the ground rose and then sank into a thick, oozing black mud like molasses. Moments later, a formless mass squished out of the muck and rose like a rearing horse to feed upon the withering mass of butchered humanity. It was everywhere and nowhere at once as it slowly picked its way through the carnage, absorbing the darkness, savoring the misery, trailing terrible noises. Shrieks, cries, whispers, pops, cracks, feasting sounds, death sounds, dark sounds. Otto watched the creature as it slowly began to manifest into the very thing he had imagined, the very thing he had made them all imagine. It turned slowly to look at Otto for a long silent moment. Then the journey struggled away through the thick black sludge, disappearing into the shadows from which it had come. Moving on to its perks, darkness revealed. Whenever you search a locker, you see the auras of survivors within 8 meters of lockers for 8 seconds. Cool down for 30 seconds. Dissolution. 3 seconds after survivor takes damage for 20 seconds, the next time a survivor fast vaults a pallet, while within your tear radius, it is destroyed. Septic touch. While a survivor within your tear radius is healing, they gain blindness and exhausted. When they stop healing, this ends after 30 seconds. Next up, Reign of Darkness, the Dredge's power. Special ability, the Glooming. Press and hold the power button to activate. Once activated, the Dredge leaves a radiant behind. Aim at a locker and press the ability button to teleport into it, or press the attack button to return to the radiant. The radiant is disabled when teleporting to a locker or when a survivor touches it. While in a locker, aim at any other locker and press the ability button to teleport again. Each teleport consumes a power token. Exiting the locker or returning to your remnant will activate the Glooming's cooldown, after which all power tokens are recharged. Survivors can place locks on lockers to slow the Dredge exiting them. The Dredge can break locks by exiting the locked locker or performing a base attack on the lock. Each locker can only be locked once. Special ability, Nightfall. The Nightfall meter builds when a healthy survivor is injured, a survivor is hooked, or the teleport power is used. The Nightfall meter also fills faster for each survivor in the injured state. Once the Nightfall meter is full, Nightfall begins. During Nightfalls, survivors must navigate in total darkness. The Dredge's teleport is faster with a shorter cooldown and gains undetectable. Nightfall ends after 60 seconds. And moving on last to add-ons, starting with Iridescent Wooden Plank. Survivors are afflicted with the exposed status effect for the last 12 seconds of Nightfall. Sacrificial Knife. Exiting a locker during Nightfall blocks all vault locations within 60 meters for 5 seconds. Boat Key increases teleport speed by 16% while not in Nightfall. When the exit gates are powered, all active lockers are instantly broken. Field Recorder. Nightfall is active at the start of the trial. Nightfall is automatically triggered when the last generator is repaired. Any survivor that comes into contact with a remnant is afflicted with the exhausted status effect for 15 seconds. Lavanier Microphone. Survivors' auras are revealed for 3 seconds when using the last teleport token. When entering a locker using teleport, other lockers within 6 meters of survivors open and slam their doors. Tailing Blade. When a survivor is injured from full health during Nightfall, they're afflicted with the blindness, hemorrhage, and mangled status effects for 80 seconds. Broken Doll increases the duration of Nightfall by 20 seconds. Destroyed Pillow decreases teleport cooldown by 2.5 seconds during Nightfall. Auto Marion Writing decreases teleport cooldown by 2 seconds while not in Nightfall. War Helmet increases Killer Instinct's duration by 1.5 seconds. Worry Stone reveals the aura of a survivor for 6 seconds when they lock a locker. Air Freshener adds 1 additional power token for teleporting. Burnt Letters increases the amount Nightfall charges when injuring a survivor by 25%. Fallen Shingle using Rain of Darkness increases Nightfall charge speed by an additional 15% per second. Hattie's Calendar decreases the time to exit a locked locker by 0.4 seconds. Malthinker's Skull increases Nightfall charge speed by 25% while any survivor is injured. Caffeine Tablets. Auras of locked lockers are visible while charging the glooming and teleporting. Follower's Call. Teleporting to the Remnant will activate Killer Instinct even when not in Nightfall. Motor and Pastel. The Dredge will emerge from its remnant facing the same direction as when teleport is activated, instead of the direction facing when the remnant was placed. Wooden Plank increases the amount Nightfall charges when a survivor is hooked by 25%. Last up, Dracula, released on August 27, 2024, Chapter 33, Castlevania. Game alias, The Dark Lord. A Romanian male. A license from the video game franchise, Castlevania. The lore states, inconsolable grief metamorphed into madness after the death of Dracula's beloved. He sought out the fabled Crimson Stone as a way to cheat death, but death trapped his soul inside the stone, granting him eternal life as a vampire. Vlad Tempest Dracula was now the Dark Lord. He slept by day and haunted in the eventide, seeking out the living and stealing their lifeblood. He built a castle in Romania shielded with sinister magic and turned many of the local villagers into the living dead. Dracula's castle became a symbol of terror and despair. His power seemed inaccessible, and many perished trying to defeat him as he swallowed endless chaos, suffering, and death. In 1476, Trevor Belmont of the Belmont clan ended Dracula's reign with the vampire killer. But the undead never stayed dead for long, and Dracula was resurrected more than once over the centuries to continue his quest for revenge. Resurrected in 1999, Dracula raised an army of the undead. It took another descendant of the Belmont clan to defend him, Julius Belmont. In the savage clash known as the Battle of 1999, Julius Belmont took the fight to Dracula's castle and battled the Dark Lord with the same enchanted whip his distant ancestors wielded. Most believe Dracula suffered a true death, a final death, but Dracula didn't die that night. As the vampire killer tore the flesh from his bones, a strange fog rolled across the ancient stone floor. Dracula felt the icy fingers of something or someone beckoning him. The fog engulfed him and transported him to a place where he could continue his dark vengeance against humanity. Moving on to his perks, Dominance. The first time each chest is being unlocked and each totem is being blessed or cleansed by a survivor, it is blocked for 16 seconds. Hex, Wretched Fate. The first time a generator is completed, a dual totem ignites. The obsession repairs 33% slower and sees the Hex totem's aura within 12 meters. Human Greed. Whenever survivor gets within 8 meters of a locked chest, you see their aura for 5 seconds. You can unlock chest, cooldown of 10 seconds. You see the auras of locked chest. And moving on to his power, Vampiric Shift. Special ability, Shapeshift. The Dark Lord has access to 3 forms and can freely change between them. Each form has unique abilities and strengths. Vampire form. In his default state, the Dark Lord can use the powerful Hellfire spell which creates 8 pillars of flame that erupt from the ground in front of him and can cast across low obstacles. Wolf form. In wolf form, the Dark Lord has access to several abilities that allow for more effective tracking. Pools of blood and scratch marks are brighter, and running survivors leave a trail of scent orbs behind them. The Dark Lord can collect these scent orbs to gain haste, and charge a powerful bounce attack to damage survivors. Hitting a dropped pallet or breakable wall will special break it. Bat form. While in bat form, the Dark Lord gains the undetectable status effect. Additionally, he moves faster, ignores vault points, and can teleport to any vault points within 32 meters. Survivors become invisible, but scratch marks can be seen. Lastly, moving on to his add-ons. Starting with Alucard's Shield. When the gates are open, pillars of hellfire continuously spawn within the exit gates. Iridescent Ring of Vlad. Hellfire pillars home in on one nearby survivors. Cube of Zoe. When a generator is completed, creates pillars of hellfire around the Dark Lord for 10 seconds. Lapis Lazuli. After teleporting to a window vault, the entity blocks that window for survivors for 8 seconds. Medusa's Hair. All survivors within 8 meters of your teleport destination suffer from an 8% hindered status effect for 4 seconds. Warg's Fang reveals the auras of all survivors whose scent orbs you have collected whenever bounce attack becomes available for 5 seconds. Force of Echo increases the spawn rate of scent orbs by 10%. Killer Doll increases the cooldown reduction of bounce attacks from scent orbs by 30%. Pocket Watch. Whenever you break pallets or breakable walls, instantly recharge teleport. Sunglasses. Hellfire has 1 extra pillar. Increases Hellfire charging time by 25%. Scythe Feather. Whenever you break a pallet, earn 1 token up to 5. For each token, Hellfire's cooldown is 5% shorter. Blood-Filled Goblet increases the duration of scent orbs by 60%. Magical Ticket increases the maximum speed of teleport by 10%. Moonstone Necklace reduces the size of the tear radius in vampire and wolf forms by 8 meters. White Wolf Medallion increases Killer Instinct duration by 1 second while in wolf form after survivors complete rushed actions. Winged Boots increases maximum distance of teleport by 20%. Cerberus Talon increases the reveal distance of scent orbs by 100%. Clock Tower Gear reduces the cooldown of Shapeshift by 5%. Ruby Circlet decreases the cooldown of Hellfire by 5%. Traveler's Hat increases Shapeshift speed by 5%. Alrighty, everyone. So, we wanted to remind everyone that we have officially launched our Discord server. You guys can you can find it in the show notes, or you can find it on any of our podcast descriptions anywhere. And of course, it is on our website. And like we mentioned last time, the first 10 to sign up for our Discord will get an exclusive early access to a special episode that we've been working on for quite some time that we're very excited to share with you guys. So please go ahead and join the Discord, and you will get exclusive access to so many things in the future, and you will be the first to know when we upload things.
If you were curious about this information down the road, feel free to head over to our website to see all of this at any time from any mobile device or computer. Thank you for joining us here at Exploring the Entity. Remember to follow us on Spotify and Instagram at Exploring the Entity.
Also, check us out on the visual side on YouTube at Exploring the Entity DVD. Until next time, Dunlings, keep your eyes on the shadows, listen for the claws, because the fog doesn't just surround you, it waits for you.